I'm going to talk to New Yorker Paul Rieckhoff more about this. Paul, the host of the Independent Americans podcast, here in the studio with me. When I say, zoom out, this is, as I said right at the top of the broadcast, happening in the middle of an election year. And again, you could talk about all the stats you want on immigration, but you have headlines like this one and the other ones that we mentioned. What's the impact?
I think the impact is it's a national priority. It's a national crisis in some areas. It's not unique to New York. I mean, it's acute here in New York. We've had 200,000 people hit New York, and I think you got to put that in context. That's the size of a small city. That's like Yonkers, New York, Worcester, Massachusetts, Rochester. That's a sizable number of people, and with them are going to come lots of problems. You're going to have crime. You're going to have mental health issues. You're going to have health issues, and you've seen a policy failure in New York, but nationally as well. And I think what I'm kind of tired of, I think most Americans are tired of, is the crime, is the threat. But they're also tired of politicians on both sides, banging on their chest, pointing fingers, and not offering solutions. Immigration has been failed by both parties for a generation in this country. And yes, we are fed up. We are taking things in our own hands. But somebody's got to step forward and show some leadership here to actually solve the problem and not just cast dispersions and partisan attacks on each other.
Well, think about who would take the blame. As always, politically, it's incumbent. So here in New York City, the mayor of New York is Eric Adams. I'm sure fingers would be pointed at him. But more widely here, again, presidential election year, President Biden on this issue has made a couple of announcements in recent weeks on immigration, but stories like this, they can't be helpful to the president's reelection.
No, I think it's definitely going to hurt him, and it's an opportunity for Trump to offer alternatives. I think here in New York City, it's pretty bipartisan that Adams is failing. I mean, he's universally unpopular. I live in New York, and the crime statistics are not enough because they don't show threats. And I walk around the city all the time with two little boys who are 5 and 8 years old, and you feel the threat. That doesn't show up in crime statistics, but you see an influx of people who are threatening, who have mental health needs, who may be criminals, and that is real. But trying to be balanced about it, trying to come up with solutions, and at the same time holding politicians accountable is what all New Yorkers want, but it's what all Americans want. And I think it's kind of a pox on all their houses. We want solutions. We want to see our families safe. We want to see the partisan attacks to just kind of end and them to work together on getting stuff done.
But the criticism of the president that he ignored the immigration issue for too long, is that fair?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think that's bipartisan. I think it's hurting him with independents. We talk a lot about them, especially. Independents care about the border. It used to be a more partisan issue, but I think now it's pretty widespread. Everybody cares about immigration because it's hitting them in different ways. And it's up to all politicians to offer creative solutions. And I think that's an opportunity for maybe up-and-coming politicians, for outsider politicians, business people who can try to offer solutions, but also people from the law enforcement community, maybe people from the military, people from healthcare that can offer solutions and not just attacks on each other.
We'll have an update on this story from Queens when the arraignment takes place. Paul's coming back as well later in the hour. Thank you, Paul. I want to move to the story we started